So if you look at several components of retrograde PCI, obviously Dr. Ganraj has very nicely pointed out that crossing the collateral is one. So you have to cross the collaterals with a wire all the way up to the distal cap into the CTO. And then after that, you have to cross a microcatheter of your choice over the collateral all the way into the CTO segment to complete your procedure. Now, if you look at, there are several rules of microcatheter. There are different wires to cross collateral channel. Then there are different wires to cross CTO segment, and there are different wires to be externalized. So first, you have to cross the collateral channel. Then you pass your microcatheter all the way up to the distal cap of the CTO, and then you cross into the CTO. So you require wire exchanges several times for retrograde wire escalation, because you have to use stiff wire which you can't pass through collateral channel. So the microcatheter crossing is very important for the success of retrograde cases. So if you look at the contemporary registries, the retrograde procedure success rate is around 60 to 85%. And then if you look at what are the causes of failure, so majority of the retrograde procedure fail due to inability to cross collateral channel with wire. So you can see here, this is a series of 800 cases. Out of 800 cases, about 650, so about 20 to 25% of the cases you are unable to cross collateral channel. But once you have crossed collateral channel, there is still the failure to cross microcatheter happens in 10 to 15% of the cases, and that is the failure. So it constitutes about 10 to 15% of the cases where you cannot follow your microcatheter of choice into the distal CTO segment. So that is the question I'm trying to answer here. So what are the reasons for this? So there could be several reasons, obviously. The majority of the time, there are very narrow collateral channels, or there are very tortuous collateral channel, and then there could be a poor backup force of the guide catheter, or there could be obstruction with the strut of the stent if you are taking a collateral channel which comes through a stent strut. And there are different solutions for each of these problems. So just to recap on the collateral channel classification, CC0 very poorly visible, CC1 and CC2 here you can see large branches. And Dr. Ganraj has also already mentioned the collateral morphology is very important for the success or failure of collateral channel crossing, including tortuosity, corkscrew tortuosity or 90-degree bends or AD ratio more than 2. Then you can see there are a variety of collateral channel, very simple collateral channel, very straight with angulated less than 90 degree. They are considered very favorable. Here you can see a corkscrew channel which has got multiple bends, 180 degree bends, and they are difficult to cross with the micro channel and the microcatheter. And these are some of the collateral channels from RCA which are also you can see in these patients. Now, some colleagues were asking about epicardial collateral channels. There is a different pattern of epicardial collateral channels. As you can see, they can be very tortuous, but they are usually CC1 or 2 type connections, and they are easier to cross with your microcatheter if you can directly visualize them. So what can you do about, so these slides tell you everything about what do you do if your retrograde microcatheter doesn't cross after crossing the collateral with the wire. So you can pass wire as deep as possible, and then you provide gentle rotation to the microcatheter of your choice, whichever you are using. If that doesn't work, then you have to increase support, and I will tell you how to increase support. If that doesn't work, then you have to change different microcatheter. Sometimes you can use short microcatheter, 130 centimeter microcatheter to dilate the collateral channel. They are better for dilation, and then you remove them, and then you take 150 centimeter microcatheter, or you can take a new microcatheter. And very rarely you have to dilate the microcatheter, as well as one of my co-chairperson asked about the dilating the collateral channel. If none of these things work, then there are other options. You can keep your retrograde wire. You can do a retrograde true lumen crossing, use the marker wire, or use another collateral. So how can you increase support? These are the ways you can increase support. So you should always take a supportive guiding catheter like AL1.0 for right coronary artery and EBU or extra support for left coronary artery. Then you can use a balloon anchor. You can use both antegrade and retrograde. And then you can use guide extension catheter. Now I'll show you with some examples here. This is a patient after successful collateral wire crossing. We were not able to pass the Corsair Pro through the left circumflex epicardial collateral channel into the RCA. So we put a wire into the circumflex in the LAD coronary artery here, and put a balloon at the low atmospheric pressure here, anchor the balloon, and then we were able to pass the same microcatheter. So that is a simple thing, and then you were able to take it into a distal vessel and complete the procedure. You see here in this case what happened, the wire crossed up to here and the microcatheter was not crossing into the CTO segment, and the wire went all the way up to the retrograde guiding catheter. So what we did here, we passed antegrade balloon here. So sometime, and this balloon is in subintimal, so you can always anchor the retrograde wire with the antegrade balloon and then push your microcatheter up. And then once you decide that this microcatheter is not going up, then you have to look at the properties of your microcatheter, and you may like to change your microcatheter at that point. Now you see here, Caravel, you need to know two things, tip profile and crossing profile. The tip profile is smallest for Corsair Pro X, and the crossing profile is smallest for fine cross. Sometimes fine cross works better. And the proximal shaft caliber that provides you more support. So you can see here, Caravel has got 1.4 French, 1.3 Corsair. So Corsair Pro XS is the best available in the market at the moment, but sometimes the fine cross works well as well, and Turnpike is also very good microcatheter. Similar things here. You can see some of these catheters you can transmit the torque as well. In some catheters you can't transmit the torque, such as fine cross and Caravel, as compared to Turnpike catheter, Corsair catheters. But these are some of the good catheters, Corsair Pro X, and then Teleport, which is not available in India. Member Flex is a quite good catheter with 2.1 French crossing profile. Again, the same things shown up here. So you need to know the tip profile, crossing profile both. This is another case you can see here. If you go back, the Corsair was not able to cross the catheter, and then we changed it to fine cross. We were able to cross it distally. Sometimes then you have to dilate the collateral channel. Now, my advice is septal collateral can be dilated, 1.25, 1.50 balloon. Not much happens. If there is a dissection or a perforation, it will not cause any hemodynamic. Never, never, never dilate the epicardial collateral channel. You see here, this microcatheter was not able to cross. So we dilate with 1.25 balloon in here, and then we were able to cross the microcatheter. And sometimes you have to apply multiple methods. Here the dilator, we have to dilate the collateral channel as well and use the guide extension catheter as well to get the your guide wire going up into the distal contralateral guiding catheter. Sometimes you have to use both anchoring and dilating as well. Then you can always use a different collateral if that collateral is not working. That's why it's very important to choose the collateral carefully. Less tortuous, larger collateral. As you can see here, in this case of LED CTO, there are multiple collaterals. Now, how do you choose the collateral? You have to look at direct connection, less tortuous, larger diameter to able to cross it. So we do a lot of surfing, and then you see here, we did a lot of surfing here, not able to cross. So if you able to cross also these macro collaterals or macro channel here distally, it might be very difficult to pass your macro catheter up. So you have to think a step ahead as well. You don't need to cross the macro channel only with the wire, you have to cross it with the catheter as well. So then you see here the multiple surfing we have done, but we're not able to achieve any good collateral. There was a connection, and then we found a collateral which was connected with less tortuosity, a little bit proximal. So this is the benefit of surfing, and then we were able to pass this with the wire and the Corsair and complete the procedure. Similarly, in this case, you see in RCA, LED septal, selective injection, no direct connections, multiple collateral channels. So surfing has got some merits, but selective injection is good to isolate the collateral and identify a suitable collateral to be able to be successful, pass with both the wire and the microcatheter. So this collateral you might try with the wire, and 90% of the time wire will cross, but majority of the time the microcatheter will not follow. So I think it is important to invest some time in isolating the collateral channel. As you can see here, we found a collateral channel in the LAO view, and in this here, little bit distal. So this is the benefit. Now you know this, you save time that this collateral is connecting and it is CC 1 to 2, and then you were able to successfully, we were able to pass with the wire as well and with the macrocatheter as well. Because once you pass the macrocatheter distally, you have to take this wire out. These are different wires which are used to pass the collateral channel. Then you have to use special wires to do retrograde wire escalation, reverse cart, externalize the wire. Then you take this macrocatheter into the guiding catheter as well. Similarly, in this case, you can see multiple collateral channels. If I go back here, so see this here. So this explains you better here. So this is the collateral channel, not very good distally. As Dr. Ganraj has very nicely mentioned that the proximal part of the collateral from LAD is more visible in RAO cranial, distal part is more visible in RAO caudal. So you have to do injections in both views to see the tortuosity, because otherwise it's foreshortened. And then we are able to complete this procedure. Now, if you are not able to pass, sometimes you can just park your wire distally, like here. You are not able to pass the microcatheter, you can use a kissing wire technique. Kissing wire technique means the retrograde wire you leave in the distal RCA, and then you take your antegrade wire and you use the retrograde wire as a landmark. And in multiple views, you can negotiate your antegrade wire. Like in here, you can see this here, the antegrade wire and the retrograde wire here. And we were able to cross and complete this procedure. So this is the kissing wire technique required in at least 5 to 10% of the cases. Sometimes you can cause a retrograde wire crossing straight without crossing the, this case was done by crossing the balloon. This was the wire was crossed through the CTO, and the balloon was also transmitted through the septal collateral channel, and the procedure was completed. So you can do a retrograde wire crossing as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, microcatheter won't cross. You have to increase the support first. If it doesn't work, you use different microcatheter. If the different microcatheter is not available and it doesn't work, you can dilate septal collateral 1.25 balloon, or you can use a different collateral. That's where the importance of identifying your collateral channel comes in. And if that doesn't work, you change your strategy. Retrograde wire use as a kissing wire, or you can go again back to antegrade and you do antegrade dissection re-entry, or you can do retrograde wire crossing and then cross the wire in the contralateral guide and anchor it there, and then you will be able to cross it.
Thank you, Dr. Rathore, for being bang on time. So in the next 2 minutes, we'll take some questions or comments from the chairpersons and panelists.
And Corsair Pro X is good because septal collateral needs to be a little bit dilated before the things go. And then if it doesn't work, Caravelle. For epicardial collateral, you can use either, but Caravelle is better because you don't need a torque force for the epicardial collateral. You need more of a pushing type of force. Any microcatheter can cause, but Caravelle slightly works better for me for epicardial collaterals. And Corsair Pro X is very good. But if it doesn't work, sometimes we go with fine cross as well. But you have to use 150 centimeter microcatheter. That's very important because you might use short. Now, why people say you use short if it doesn't go? Because 130 centimeter Corsair has got a better profile to dilate the channel. So you use 130 to pass the collateral channel, then take it out, and then you use 150, it will go and will be able to finish the job for you.
Do you ever use a fine cross microcatheter in case of septal cross?
Yeah, sometimes we use, but not as first choice because it has got some razor effect because the tip is not tapered for fine cross. So, but if the collateral is big, it will go, I think. It's not a major problem. But in difficult collateral, that can be a challenge sometimes.
Thank you, sir. Suppose we won't found is a very straight collateral or something is too much tortuous, then how it goes there?
Yeah, so what happens, they're always tortuous. So once you pass the wire slowly, you wire of choice, now there are different wires available. One of the speakers might speak on that. Suo wire is a wire of choice now. So once you cross,
which wire is more suitable for tortuous? Is Crosshair or Crosshair?
Suo 3 wire is the most common wire used nowadays, but you can use Sion black also, Sion wire. But once you cross the collateral, then what happens, the small tortuosities become straight, and then you have to take the microcatheter gently. If it will go through it. So tortuosity doesn't remain a problem once the wire has crossed through it. But epicardial, the tortuosity remains a problem, so you have to
because
pass.
We can't dilate the epicardial collateral. No. It's very prone for the rupture or purpose.
Yeah, so you don't dilate. What you do, you pass one collateral, one band, bring your microcatheter, then pass the second band, bring your microcatheter. So you have to keep taking your microcatheter band after band, and then you will be able to cross it to straighten the band. And epicardial can be straightened, and they are not prone for rupture if they are straightened. We have done in many cases.
Okay.
Thank you. I think I'm over time now.
Thank you so much.